There's a study where they took this group of elderly men and had them pretend that they were 20 years younger, and they took them all to a retreat center, and they put music and pictures on the walls and kind of recreated the time period where they were all 20ish years younger, and they're only left there for 5 days. And after 5 days, the researcher was like, they were literally playing touch football by the end of the 5 days, and some of them were throwing their canes down. And on average, they were taller. They scored 60 points better on an IQ test. Their finger length was longer. They were more flexible. They had stronger heart rate. It was just nothing about it made sense. The only thing that can really explain it is quantum, which is based off the premise that consciousness is the base of all the material world, and consciousness is what animates all things. You think about it, like the medical model, for example, they can explain why you need to clean a cut and put a bandage on it, but they don't, nothing of that paradigm can explain why it heals in the first place. There's something immaterial in life that animates the material, and it, to the naked eye, it doesn't make sense. But when you think about consciousness and energy, and in the quantum field, consciousness and energy are one. So the thought is the experience, and so the thought automatically produces the emotion. That is what these men were changing within themselves, is what they're thinking and how they feel about it. And their entire biology changed. Their entire life could potentially change, because now they're coming home and some of them aren't using their canes. It's a completely different reality in the quote-unquote same body, but the consciousness that animates it has changed. So nothing about that is possible. But in the quantum, all possibilities exist there. Every single potential that ever was, ever could be, ever would be, stuff that we're not even aware of as potentiality, everything in every single galaxy, in every single time, in every single space, it all exists there in the immaterial form. And that is what animates our lives, our bodies, our cells, etc. So if you change your consciousness, the impossible will start to form around you, because the consciousness that you're animating your life with is different. Therefore, your life will be different, because it's not just material form. It's the consciousness animating the material form. And so our jobs as little humans isn't to figure out how. If those men were like, how can I score 60 points better on my IQ test and get taller and not use my cane in 5 days, they wouldn't have been able to figure it out. It's to carry yourself like it's already happened. To merge with the quantum field, which is what I talked about yesterday. There's a video I made about how thoughts become reality, about how everything is collapsing into matter versus matter emitting energy, or energy coming from matter. It's actually the other way around. Einstein says that the quantum field, is the sole governing agency of the particle. So if you can get to the quantum field, and you can change it and carry around that energy and carry around that consciousness, it will find you and it will collapse into matter. And that is quantum law. And that is how it doesn't have to make sense. It's a reality beyond our senses. We can only perceive 1% of the light spectrum with our eyes. The rest is invisible. And we have a little bit of proof and other kind of experience with that, with like Wi-Fi and radio waves and whatever, but there's so much to the eye, that to the ears, like to the touch, that we can't see, feel, smell, whatever, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And so when something doesn't make sense, it doesn't mean it's impossible, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try, or that you shouldn't go for it, or you shouldn't dream it, or you shouldn't get there. It's that the unknown, the unseen, the quantum field where literally all possibilities exist, that is, those men were merging with the quantum field without even realizing it, because it's within us and all around us as this void in every single atom, which is 99.9999% just oscillating energy. And that's what everything is made out of. They were pretending to be, they were thinking and they were feeling like they were 20 years younger, and that's like the results that it produced in their life. That is the consciousness. The consciousness is what forms reality. Consciousness is what forms matter, and consciousness is ultimately how the unseen becomes seen, how the impossible becomes possible. How does a cut heal? If you tried to heal it yourself, you would feel like it was impossible, yet it happens all the time. It's the unknown, it's the unseen. And so the big part after, creating a vision, getting a vision, holding a vision, is trusting in the unseen, trusting in the unknown, trusting in this greater consciousness, this greater intelligence that's like, even if we don't understand or see how it's going to happen, that definitely doesn't mean it's impossible, because there are so many things that we can't see or perceive or know. And yeah, that's the point.